Welcome back to Super Recaps. I'm going to present to you The Rum Diary, a 2011 American comedy drama. Before that, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications to get new video updates. Watch out for spoilers ahead. American writer and struggling author Paul Kemp travels to San Juan, Puerto Rico, in search of employment with a regional newspaper. A man named Bob Sala introduces himself as the newspaper's photographer and gives him a general overview of the city while he waits outside the editor-in-chief's office. Kemp is soon welcomed into the office, where he meets the editor Edward Lotterman. Lotterman says that he is seeking to bolster his team with motivated individuals who can assist him raise the caliber of the newspaper. Kemp enters the library after learning more about the group and runs into Hal Sanderson, who extends an offer of employment. The following evening, Kemp and Sala go out for drinks, during which Sala admits that he was the only applicant for the position. He also says that the newspaper would close shortly, but his co-workers don't agree with him. After their friends leave, Sala tells him about a man named Moberg who works as a newspaper correspondent but rarely arrives at work because of his drinking issue. Sala responds that Sanderson used to work for the press but is now a freelance realtor after Kemp informs him of Sanderson's offer and inquiries about his view of him. Additionally, he informs Kemp that Sanderson has a wide network in the city, which could be advantageous to him professionally. Sala leaves him off at his hotel after dinner and offers him a place to stay. When Kemp returns inside and spends his leisure time on the boat, he meets Chunalt, who tells him she is swimming to escape a dull business party. She instantly makes an impression on Kemp, who tries to ask her more questions but she walks away unresponsive. After spending some time in Puerto Rico, Kemp notices that despite being a popular tourist destination, it is unsafe to stroll around due to poor security. He attempts to draw attention to the problems in his piece, but Edward declines to publish it since it would harm tourism. He advises him to instead concentrate on the attractions. Moberg enters the office while they are debating the article, and Edward threatens to fire him but chooses to debate with him instead because he knows he cannot fire him until Moberg has paid his debts. Kemp interrupts the fight and takes Edward back to his office. He offers him to take charge and replace Moberg. In the next scene, they are at the airport to cover the upcoming tour of the mayor of Miami. Kemp runs into Sanderson again, who invites him over for lunch. As they travel to his home, Sanderson talks to him about his job and how real estate is a goldmine in Puerto Rico since people are willing to pay a fortune to possess a piece of property there. Kemp recognizes Chunalt at Sanderson's beachside villa and learns that she is engaged to him, but she makes up that she has never met him before. Sanderson offers Kemp to write commercials for his real estate company so that more people are drawn to it while Chunalt sets up lunch for the two of them. Kemp gathers his belongings and transports them to Sala's apartment after the informal meeting with Sanderson because Sala has offered to have him there. Sala reveals Moberg shares a room with him but spends the majority of his time outside as he surveys the depressing residence. Kemp dislikes the apartment, but he is compelled to accept it because he has nowhere else to stay. The following day, Sala brings Kemp along to a cockfight and explains to him how he makes money from it. They are watching TV in the flat after returning when Moberg enters. Sala informs Kemp that Moberg brings in leftover rum plant filters, which are the ones with the highest alcohol content. The following morning, Kemp informs Edward about his most recent piece in which he laments the miserable living circumstances in the city, but Edward advises him to accept things as they are because he can do nothing to improve them. Kemp becomes outraged, but Edward explains that the sponsors pay for the publication, thus the writings must adhere to their standards. Even if they published such pieces, in his opinion, no one would read them because visitors simply come to the area to have fun on holiday and are uninterested in the challenges the area faces. Later, when Kemp goes to Sanderson's residence, he sees Sanderson making out with Chunalt in the water. Art Zimberger and his wife, who are friends and business partners of Sanderson, soon join him. Kemp is informed by Sanderson that Zimberger, a U.S. Marine, will collaborate with him on a future project. A few locals turn up at the beach in the meantime, but Sanderson tells them to go because it is his property. Kemp is angered by his actions but is unable to confront him. At the party, Sanderson invites Kemp to join a casual conversation with his friends, including Mr. Segura and Zimberger, who explain their new plan to construct hotels on the island and beg him to write favorable stories in their support. Kemp, who is fascinated with Chunalt, informs Sala about her on his way home from the party, but Sala begs him to avoid her because she is currently seeing Sanderson. They soon stop at a roadside restaurant for dinner, but the waitress declines to give them a drink because it is already closing time. When the owner arrives, Sala starts to quarrel with him and asks him to make him dinner. Kemp begs Sala to leave after realizing that the business owner is assembling a team of neighborhood allies to fight them. They try to flee on Kemp's advice and calmly walk away, but the neighborhood starts chasing them. Sala becomes alarmed because he fears they might be killed, but Kemp tries to frighten them away. The locals corner them and they start to fight, but the police arrive and break it up. When they arrive at the police station, they are booked on numerous counts, including assault and injuring a police officer while fighting. The prosecution plans to put them in jail for a month, but Sanderson shows up and frees them. Sala asks him to accompany him when they return to their apartment the following morning so they may pick up Sala's car from where they left it the previous evening. When they locate the car, they see that the neighborhood has expressed its wrath toward it, but Sala manages to repair it. Kemp encounters Sanderson's crew after an eventful journey home, who inform him that the U.S. military is giving up the lease on a property, and they have plans to profit from the circumstance. Kemp expresses his anxiety when he learns that they intend to construct an entire estate. He had assumed they only intended to construct one hotel. However, he is informed that this is just the beginning. After the meeting, Kemp is required to sign confidentiality agreements to ensure that he won't tell anyone about the company's secrets. Kemp agrees to do it but requests a favor from Sanderson in return. Sanderson asks him to bring up Chunalt from his house and offers Kemp some cash and a brand new vehicle. She tells Kemp about the forthcoming carnival and asks him to go when they first meet at Sanderson's house. Kemp explains to her that Sanderson did not invite him, but she insisted that he attend. They enjoy their time together in the car on the way back to the party and start to fall in love, but they resist the urge. Sala informs him when he returns to the flat that the incident from last night was covered in the newspaper. His worry over the report turns out to be accurate, as Edward chastises them for their escapade. Kemp gives Sala an invitation to the island and offers him to join the carnival after observing Sala's upset. Mr. Zimberger briefs them on the island about the plan to construct hotels and seaside resorts. Later, Kemp and Sala talk about Sanderson's strategy. Because the locals will lose their lands, Kemp believes the project will be a nightmare for them, but he is aware that Sanderson doesn't give a damn. They arrive at the carnival at night, but Sanderson is angry to see Sala there. He scolds Kemp for introducing him to the island and explaining their agreement, but Kemp reassures him that Sala won't tell anyone. During their time together on the boat, Kemp and Chunalt talk about his profession and his desire to write more effectively. After supper, Kemp departs the gathering to hang out with his friends, but Chunalt says she'd want to follow him. Sanderson argues with her because he doesn't want her to leave, but she chooses to go anyway despite his objections. At the club, Sanderson becomes agitated when drunk Chunalt dances with the locals. He tries to step in but gets beaten up by the security. He and Kemp are thrown out of the club, leaving Chunalt behind. The following morning, Kemp approaches Sanderson at the boat and inquiries about Chunalt. Sanderson responds angrily, telling Kemp that their agreement is terminated. When they arrive home, Mauberg greets them and informs them that Lotterman has quit the position and that the newspaper may close at any time. They choose to try the unique drug he gives. Kemp chooses to expose Sanderson's real estate scams after having a realization while under the influence of the drug. In the meantime, Chunalt unexpectedly appears and begs Kemp to be allowed to stay. Later, Kemp subsequently runs into Lotterman, who has since returned to work, and asks him to run the Sanderson article, but Lotterman declines. Kemp starts to recognize the difficulties facing journalism and makes the decision to leave. Chunalt apologizes to him, believing she has upset him, but he appeases her by telling her that she helped him organize his thoughts and made him realize that he must expose the frauds rather than take part in them. They learn from a court notice that Sanderson has revoked his bail and that the police are now looking for them. Mauberg arrives at the flat and informs Kemp that the newspaper is closing permanently as Sala departs to speak with their attorney. Kemp resolves to print one final issue to expose Sanderson's shady dealings but learns they don't have enough resources to do so. In the meantime, Chunalt leaves a note for Kemp, revealing that she has gone to New York and has left a $100 bill for him. Kemp decides to wager this $100 on a cockfight while drinking the remaining bottle of rum in order to gain some money. He tells Sala and Mauberg about his plan, and they both agree to carry it through. To win his final fight, Mauberg brings them to his witch acquaintance Papa Nebo and asks her to bless the cock. They carry the printing press back to the office after winning the cockfight, but Mauberg informs them that Sanderson's men have grabbed it, making it impossible to publish their final issue. On one of Sanderson's boats, Kemp departs Puerto Rico to continue his search. In the post-credits sequence, it is shown that he eventually realized his true potential, moved back to New York, married Chunalt, and rose to prominence as a journalist. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe.